Bienvenue. Les aventures de Frank et Ben. Deuxième série. Frank and Ben go to Winnipeg. Troisième histoire. Frank and Ben go to Winnipeg, part 3. Frank and Ben are visiting Uncle Bob. They are staying at a ranch about 40 miles north of Winnipeg. At first, Frank and Ben like it on the ranch. They hike around a lot, ride the horses, go fishing once in a while, visit some neighbors, and listen to Uncle Bob's stories about all his hunting and fishing adventures up north. They even like it at first when Uncle Bob gets them to help him put in some fence posts. Some of the fence that pens the cattle is very old and needs to be replaced. They work hard while Uncle Bob tells them what to do. Wearing his cowboy hat, Levi jeans, snakeskin boots, an embroidered shirt with a polka dot handkerchief sticking out of the breast pocket, he tells them where to drill the holes for the fence posts. They have a small gas-powered auger, which Uncle Bob shows them how to use. After they have drilled a few holes, they must put cedar posts in them. The cedar posts are treated with a special chemical so that they won't rot in the ground. Once the posts are in the holes, dirt must be put back in the holes and around the posts. Then the dirt must be tamped with a special tool so the posts stay firmly in place. It is also important that all the holes are in a straight line and all the posts stand up perfectly straight. Uncle Bob usually has his right-hand man, Ross, doing this sort of work. However, Ross is sick, and so the two boys have been lassoed into doing it. For 2 days they work hard and learn how to do everything properly. Uncle Bob leaves them to work on their own as they gain experience. No longer does he stand around supervising them in his cowboy hat, Levi jeans, snakeskin boots, an embroidered shirt with a polka dot handkerchief sticking out of the breast pocket. Finally, Frank says to Ben, "Look at this. We're working hard like slaves while Uncle Bob is back at the ranch taking it easy. I didn't come all the way to Winnipeg just to work hard. I want to have a good time." Before saying anything, Ben turns down the loud music on the radio. The music is blaring at 100 decibels and would be enough to break the eardrums of a non-teenager. Then Ben asks Frank, "What are we going to do?" "Go on strike," says Frank. "We're not even getting paid for this work." Later, Ben tells Uncle Bob that he and Frank would like to spend some time in the city. In the city lives Ben's aunt, whose name is Petunia. Aunt Petunia has already invited the boys to visit her. In fact, she has even offered to put them up for a few days. So Uncle Bob, not without some reluctance, for Ross is still sick and he will now have to drill the holes and put the fence posts in himself, drives the boys into the city. Aunt Petunia is Bob's sister, but she doesn't have much to do with him except to tell him from time to time that he should quit gambling and go to church like she does. Uncle Bob avoids Aunt Petunia as much as possible. As soon as he drops the boys off, he tells them he expects to hear from them very soon. "Why do you say that?" asks Frank. "Because Aunt Petunia thinks you're two little angels," Bob answers. "She's going to try to take you to church." "To church?" shouts Frank. "I want to go to the bars. I want to have a good time." "But you're too young for the bars, and even if you weren't, she wouldn't allow you to go to the bars while you're staying with her. So all I can say is, have a good time. Ha ha." Then Uncle Bob drives off laughing like the devil. He thinks it's very funny that Frank and Ben plan to have a good time in Winnipeg while staying at Aunt Petunia's. Just as he drives off, Aunt Petunia opens the door and smiles warmly at the boys. In one hand she holds a Bible. She says, "Welcome, welcome, my boys. Thanks be to God that you're no longer in the clutches of that man. How many times have I told him to give up his gambling and his drinking and his women? Oh, but he won't listen to me. I'm so glad you've come here. Now you will no longer be tempted by his evil ways."